and welcome to another episode of The Peer Project. My name is Chris Duke, and as always, thank you so much for tuning in and supporting the podcast. Honestly, your support means the world to me right now. Whether you're joining me for the first time, or you're one of the 12,000, I can't believe it, the 12,000 amazing people who have hit that subscribe button over the past wee while on YouTube. Your continued engagement is what keeps this all going, so thank you from the bottom of my heart. Honestly, I wouldn't do the random guy on the internet saying something nice things if you didn't engage with it, so thank you. Now, before I get officially started, I want to give a quick mention to our executive producer program. It's because of this program that I can create episodes like this, and if you'd like to be part of it and be part of the magic and see your name in the credits, then head over to producers.thepeerproject.co.uk. It costs £5 a month, which means you're throwing a fiver my way to help put all this together, keep the lights on, and I will keep giving you content. Plus, you'll get exclusive content behind the scenes, and you'll get to sit in on some of the amazing celebrity guests that I've got lined up over the coming weeks. And let me tell you, and I'm not going to tell you exactly who it is, okay? But in the next few weeks, there will be another podcast coming out, and my guest will be... Well, the only clue I can really give you is they were on TV on Christmas Day. Yeah, that's the only clue I'm giving you, okay? So, let me tell you about my guest today. It is the amazing Yoz Mensch. Now, Yoz is a comedian, a theatre maker, and an all-round creative force from Adelaide, Australia. Now, I first met them at the Edinburgh Fringe last year, and we had a short chat for the radio show, and it was clear how much wisdom, how much kindness and talent that they bring to the table. Now, in this episode, we go a lot deeper and we dive into everything from modern clowning, mental health, to navigating identity and finding joy in your own expression. Oh, and speaking of joy, I want to take a quick moment to thank everybody who supported my 14-hour YouTube live stream. It's where we gave out over 10,000 compliments. It was an incredible experience to share that and to share so much positivity with you and with people all around the world. And honestly, it reminded me of why I do this. So whether you tuned in for 10 minutes, whether you tuned in for the whole 14 hours, thank you for being part of it. So, with that, let's jump into today's episode of The Peer Project with me, Chris Duke, and my amazing guest, Yoz Mensch.
Today's episode of the Peer Project podcast is proudly sponsored by Karen at Time to Be, Holistic Psychotherapy. If you're seeking a therapeutic approach tailored to the neurodivergent community, then look no further than Imago Relationship Therapy. Imago Therapy focuses on fostering deeper communication between couples, particularly when one or both partners are neurodivergent. It's designed to slow down conversations, making room for those with ADHD to process and express themselves fully without distraction. It's all about building connections and understanding. Karen's support keeps the Peer Project running, while also offering you valuable resources to improve your relationships. If you want to explore a therapy that prioritizes real, meaningful conversations, then visit www.timetobe.com. That's www.timetobe.com. Thanks again to Karen and Time to Be for supporting our podcast and helping us spread mental health awareness.
It's been a while, because last time we spoke was Edinburgh.
Yeah, well, August. Hey, so a long while ago, so almost 6 months, I guess.
So how was the the rest of the experience then, the whole Edinburgh experience. By the way, this is us. We're just starting. That's just straight in starting. That's the way I like to go. Just
I love
straight in,
it.
start and chat. But yeah, how was the rest of the Edinburgh experience for you?
Wow, it was such a roller coaster, really. I think when we spoke, which was about midway through, I was definitely on the lower end of the roller coaster, sort of taking it slowly, trying to just be a bit mindful with how I was spending my downtime, and yeah, it definitely picked back up, and I left with such a positive impression of the entire month. It's just such a full-on time. And it had been a good like 5 or 6 years since I'd been to Edinburgh.
Mhm.
So it was like oh, that's right. It takes everything you have, and then you've got to scrounge around for a bit more to get through the month. But it's just such a crazy joy and privilege to be able to present work at like such a big melting pot of culture. Um,
And it really was. I mean, even we had what 10, 15 minutes to chat to each other that day, and that's the impression that I got from you. And this is why I've been so keen to talk to you again, is because you do seem very switched on when it comes to your mental health. Even after we spoke and you left Edinburgh, one of the first things that you did is that you just went away for a while, almost disappeared for a bit.
yeah,
And even the fact that, like, and I'm sure we'll talk about this later on as well, but when we first scheduled our first chat, um, you you had to cancel because it just wasn't the right thing for you. Um,
yeah.
so you seem very switched on and very aware of how to kind of look after yourself mentally and, dare I say, spiritually.
We can touch on that maybe, but yeah, I think it just comes from a lot of trial and error, right? From out of necessity, having to take. I guess I've used this term already, but like that mindful, just awareness of, okay, I've already done X amount of this activity over the past week. Like, what do I need to balance the scales? I think for a long time I was just very much, I don't know, serotonin chasing, and burning the candle at every end and on the side, especially my first Edinburgh, where I'd do my show and then go out partying all night and then wake up feeling absolutely horrible and fly it for 4 hours and do the show and hope that I don't defecate on stage, and then do the whole thing over and over again and just being a husk by the end. So I think this Edinburgh, I definitely came in with tools that I very much needed to wield. Um, and yeah, took a very delicate approach. I barely went out. Just took it very slowly. Made sure that I was going to be able to leave the festival not less than I entered it.
Mhm.
Um,
And that's one thing that I noticed about the festival last year was, and I mean, last year was my first festival as a kind of member of the press, but what I noticed was that there was like this real sense of almost like a community between the acts and the everybody was just so switched on. That's the only term I can use, is just switched on. Is that's the impression I got anyway from the outside looking in. How was it from the kind of inside looking in?
yeah, there seems to be a lot more of a culture, especially even coming from the festival and the venues, an
Mm.
importance of looking after yourself and mental health. Like, there's pre-festival chats that you can do with Ed Fringe, and I think like most of the venues have people on board to be like, look, are you doing okay? Like, everyone just at the end of the day is looking out for each other. As you're probably like seeing that, um, yeah, especially but between artists, like, you can tell when someone else is like having a week,
Hmm.
and there's sometimes nothing you can do for them, other than to remind them to like just have some water. Maybe don't go out tonight. Maybe like don't even fly today. Don't like just take it as easy as you can.
So, I mean, we really, really jumped right into it there, but I do want to kind of go back for people who are watching this and listening to this, who are looking and going, who is this hairy person that's in front of me right now? Um, Tell us, who is Yozzy or Yoz or whatever you want to call yourself? Who are you?
Well, I'm Yoz Mensch. I use the very creative stage name of Yozzy. Um, just because it's fun to say, and I like to give people fun things to say. I'm a theatre maker, comedian, artist, writer from Adelaide, South Australia, Ghana land. Um, and I just like to express myself in ways that confuse and enthrall others. Uh, I was in Edinburgh where I met Chris doing my solo show No Babies in the Sauna, which is about clowning and turning to clowning and trying to learn to be a clown to properly mask my autism. So it's sort of a tongue-in-cheek look at all of that. Uh,
It's funny because the one thing I notice about you, like from the start, is that you are very, very aware of who you are. Um, and that is something that I feel a lot of people uh don't have. And I mean, you said you do all this stuff, you're like theatre maker, uh, comedian, clown, which I completely forgot that we'd spoken about that um before as well. It was like you're just so your eyes are open from what I can see from you. How did you get there?
through a long time of moving through the world like this, I think. Just kind of scared and defensive. Uh, but I don't know. I'm open to being shown. I guess here's some of the spirituality by like the universe or whomever, uh, parts of myself or parts of other people in the world that are like interesting. Um, I found clowning in a time of my life where I was sort of between jobs. I was super super young. I'd been doing like art stuff for a long time, but started working at festivals and just seeing all these comedians that didn't call themselves comedians. They were clowns. They were doing weird fun stuff. And I was like, that I like the look of that, and was just sort of obsessed since then. And last
And
year,
what is?
yeah,
Sorry, you carry on.
last year I got to go and study at the clown school, and eat from the same garden as these people that inspired me, like literally and metaphorically. Um,
And what is modern clowning then? Like what is that? Because when I picture clown, I'm picturing, big shoes, red nose, bright colours, and the circus spraying each other with water and all that sort of stuff. Although
words.
yeah, but what I learned at the festival last year is that there's so much more to it and so much more artistry to it as well.
Yeah, I think like clowning now. Well, there's still a large aspect of clowning that is big shoes, red
Mhm.
noses. But I think clowning now is sort of more theatrical comedy. It's building a bit more of a I d- you almost have like dramaturgy in a clown show. Like there's a world that you're building and rules, rather than like and you know what I'm saying is not black and white. It's not steadfast. This, but traditional stand-up comedy is just stories and storytelling. There might be a few people that do characters in those stories, but clown is you can go to a clown show and there'd be no stories at all. There'd be no words. It is kind of You can go to a clown show and it basically just be a theatre show that makes you laugh and probably cry. I think clown is a bit more theatrical comedy, comedy with a dramaturg. I'm just repeating myself. It's 11 o'clock right now.
Oh, that's right. Actually, I'm very, very aware that it was quite difficult for you and I to actually get a time down there because
We've done well.
yeah, I think we have. I think the first time we scheduled this, I was supposed to be getting up at 8 o'clock in the morning or something, or like really, really early. But this time we've worked out, and you're staying up really, really late.
Eh,
I mean, it's almost tomorrow, isn't it? Where you are?
Almost, yeah. It's about 11:15 here in Little Adelaide. We can blame this quality of camera on the night vision of the laptop.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. How is life in Adelaide?
It's good. We're gearing up for the Adelaide Fringe, which is the second biggest fringe festival in the world, right after Edinburgh. It's been really hot here over the past few weeks, up to sort of 40 degrees centigrade. I can't do the conversion. I'm sorry.
That's right. I think we're Celsius as well, so don't worry about that.
Oh, great, wonderful.
40 degrees, man. Honestly.
Yeah, it's been tough, and Adelaide's it's a gorgeous town. We constantly get voted the most beautiful cities in the world from like architectural magazines and lifestyle magazines, but the rest of the country sort of we're their punching bag. If you want to seem cool and rag on a city, people rag on Adelaide. But we let them because it means less of those people come here, which is great.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, of course. And obviously, like we touched on it earlier about the fact that you're. I certainly feel that you seem very aware and very happy with who you are right now. But I can only assume that wasn't always the case, and there was a bit of a journey to kind of get where you are just now. How was that sort of kind of growing up in Australia, in Adelaide, and then eventually trying to get this journey to be Yoz 2025?
Well,
Very deep, I know.
Yeah, I'm just like, well, how deep do we go? I went to 9 schools growing up. Before my 9th school was when I was in year 8. So I basically went to a school a year, every year until I was 13, which was bonkers. There was no consistency. It made it very difficult for any teacher to recommend ADHD treatment. It meant constantly trying to make new friends or change who I was to make new friends. And I entered that 9th school sort of with this nebulous feeling of self, where it was like, oh, who am I on the bus is different to who I am in the playground is different to who I am in the maths class. Because it was like, I just want to be accepted. And I think that followed me through high school and into adulthood for quite a few years. That sort of people-pleasing aspect of my personality, which, very difficult to shift that stuff. It's very difficult to, it doesn't just switch off and on. And so I guess but it's just so much therapy and honesty with yourself, really. I think there's been a lot of that has been tied in with making art. Like I've always been involved in the theatre through all of those different schools and outside of school. Since then, every year I've made something, and it sort of obviously has changed with me. But I think I've changed with each show. I've sort of learnt something. They say not to use your shows to be therapy but sometimes it's unavoidable. You're working shit out, and sometimes that stuff that you're working out becomes a show about taking babies into saunas. Yeah.
You'd mentioned you mentioned ADHD and autism now a couple of times, and you and I was, and I can't remember if I'd mentioned this in our first interview, but we're very similar in that sense that I also have ADHD and autism. Very late diagnosed. I was only diagnosed last year, so I'm still kind of coming to terms with all that sort of thing. I assume, going from what you've said, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you knew this growing up about yourself?
It's one of those hindsight 2020 things. I remember every time someone in one of my classes was sort of diagnosed. I remember like at 8 years old, like another kid in the class being like, "I've got this, and now I have to take these," and being just so fascinated and be like, "So what do you what do you think's going on?" They're like, "I just can't focus, and like I run out of energy when I get home, and I just can't start tasks." And I'm sitting there like, "Okay, well that's weird, but I can't have that because the doctor hasn't said I had that." In hindsight, I'm looking back at all these moments, like, it was so obvious. Every school card, report card, just saying like, "Yoz is such a pleasure to have in class. If they could only stop disrupting the other students." Like every school. So I guess, yeah, in hindsight, I can see it very clearly, but at the time, I didn't have the language. It wasn't such an easy dialogue to hear growing up. There was a lot of talk about autism as well when I was growing up. I had a friend, very close friend, through most of my childhood, who was autistic, or probably still is, and sort of being privy to some of those conversations. I mean, like, I don't know. I guess me and this guy were best friends, but I don't have that, do I? Like, hindsight, I don't know if I'm making sense.
You are. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Clocks melting around me. Yeah. So the signs were there, but I didn't know what the signs looked like, and no one else was paying attention. So I have sort of just spent the last 5 or 6 years working through that. My partner she's been diagnosed with ADHD, and so we do a lot of this research sort of together, and she is very, very informative on the topic. One of her special interests subjects for a while was
Our focus.
yeah. But I'm yet to get a formal diagnosis of either. But it's kind of one of those things that the only thing that would change would be medication at this point.
Yeah. And are you open to that? Are you like, if that was the case, are you open to it? Because I know a lot of people don't like the idea of it.
Yeah, I'm absolutely open to it. It's just in Australia at the moment, there's such a huge problem with the whole getting diagnosed system, the referrals and the prices that these specialists are charging. It's pretty prohibitive, really. But hopefully there's some changes coming through Parliament that makes it a bit easier. They're doing a big inquest into autism here to make it, I guess, less murky to navigate getting a diagnosis and what to do after that. But yeah, it's still too slow. So yeah, I'm open to it. It's just there's so many hoops, and for someone that's not good at jumping through hoops, because of the thing that you need to jump through hoops to get fixed, it's this cyclical joke. Yeah.
So I was kind of back and forward on whether or not to bring this up, but I do want to talk about it. And if at any point you don't want it, that's fine. I've got no issues with it. Okay. So to give you a bit of a backstory, when I was sitting in that bar in Edinburgh, and we were going through the list of different people that we were interviewing, and then it was coming up to you, and then it's Ambrose. Ambrose was the agent, wasn't it? Do you remember? No, it doesn't matter. Anyway, the agent, the person who I was dealing with, someone,
Maybe.
yeah,
No.
had said, yours will be here soon. They are very nice. And I thought, oh, because I genuinely, hand on heart, I had never met a non-binary person before. And if I'm being honest, I got a wee bit nervous because I was really worried that I was going to make a mistake. I was going to say the wrong thing, and because of how it's portrayed in the media, and how it's portrayed online, there are a lot of very angry non-binary people out there, and that's when I got really. And then when you walked through the door, and this big, cuddly person in a jumpsuit, bright, colourful jumpsuit, walked through, and I was just put straight at ease,
Awesome.
right away. How did you know, and how did you then come to accept that that was who you are?
How did I know? It's one of those things that happened when I stopped moving through the world like this. It's like I kind of always knew, but had deep sort of repressed it. Like, that's not right. I just, at the end of the day, the most simplest answer is I just feel that is correct. When I think about it, it feels right, or at the very least, less wrong. I have been to so many weddings from extended family or like random birthday parties where I will inevitably be cornered by someone's drunk father or some uncle, and they'll be like, "So what's the deal with this then? How many of you are there? I don't understand it." And by the end of that conversation, they are 90% of the time leaving going like, "You're actually the nicest person I didn't know. The media make you out to be." Yeah. So at the end, like, we're just people, and a lot of these people who will corner you at a party and ask you about it are curious, and I think I have a lot of privilege in that I very like cis passing. Like I have a big beard. I am like can be kind of imposing because of said beard. If I've got like resting gang member face, I guess. But I am not that. And so when I subvert that expectation, I think people are immediately, oh, things are okay. I can maybe learn. And I think as someone who has that privilege, I can go and should and do go to better lengths to educate where I can. Some people are in way more precarious positions with their gender. They're way less safe expressing it or exploring it. Whereas I have the privilege of being safe and being able to educate and know that if someone were to try and be a bad person, that I'm less at risk, I guess. So the knowing and it was just actually taking the time to strip away the assumptions that I built about myself throughout my life. And also not wanting to just pressure myself into being something that other people are expecting me to be. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. How are you then when people like make a mistake or get it wrong? or just make an assumption based on the outward appearance of you.
Yeah. Well, lots of people make the assumption, and I kind of make the split second, like, is this assumption happening at the beginning of working together for a week and a half? If so, I'm gonna be like, hey, I don't mind, but it's they, them, not he, him. Just so it's not happening for a week and a half. But if it's like someone that I'm never gonna see again, like someone in the shop, was that card or cash today, sir? I'm not gonna. I don't care. That interaction has a tiny half-life. I'm gonna move on and breathe some fresh air. There's members of my family that still slip up consistently to the point where I don't know if they're actually trying to get their footing. But again, I don't have to see them. So I think very, very much water off a duck's back. Again, I don't put in that much effort to look non-male, but I guess what I'm also doing is trying to challenge the idea that beards are inherently masculine, because women grow beards, non-binary people grow beards, everyone.
Beards are awesome, is what they are.
They're so good. It's natural contouring, and I'm a big fan. So I really don't mind if someone's doing it. I, to be fair, haven't had anyone do it intentionally to my face to be like derogatory or baiting me. I haven't experienced that. We'll see what happens when that happens.
So I guess what one thing I was asking there was then, was it then very easy for you to then make the decision, and a decision is not the right word to use, but I can't think of another word, but kind of accept that is who you are? Was it a very easy
No.
No.
Okay. I was really scared. I was scared to tell my family. And in that, I kind of didn't. I just kind of did it. I talked to some friends, because I also like changed my name at the same time, and I decided to just do a big Facebook status. It was all the rage, a sort of a coming out. This is what I would like to be called now. Use these pronouns. I'm not explaining it any more than this. Do your own research if you have questions. And then I dropped, I attached a song for the algorithm to boost it, which was, do you know Peach PRC? She's an Australian.
I do know, but I'm going to look now.
She had a song called, can I swear on here?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, great. She had a song called Fuck Off, Stop Calling Me Josh, which was about her asking her ex to stop calling her. But it worked perfectly for me, whose dead name is Josh, to say, stop calling me that. And the song had just come out. It was perfect. It was a really good coming out post, as far as posts go, to be perfectly honest, and to toot my own horn. But it was terrifying. But I got such a lovely reaction from the bulk of my friends, other people in the community, whose friendships I've sort of garnered over the years since, and only one concerning comment by a relative who shall be unnamed, but they said, they just basically said, what the fuck? And I'd never responded. And because I said no questions will be answered, and that's a question. So,
and here you are sitting with me at 11:30 at night, answering loads of questions.
That's what I signed up for.
That's true. That is it. So where are you going now? What's the kind of long-term plan here for for you, personally and professionally? If you
Um,
want to tell me personally, if you tell me to mind my own business, then fine. That's also fine.
I just at this stage, I think the personal and professional is so intertwined. I guess in that where I where I want to move in the world is so tied to my art that it's kind of both connected. Um, I'm performing at Adelaide Fringe in March. Um, No Babies in the Saunas final season. It's where the show began, and then it went all over the world, and now I get to finish it at home, which is awesome. Um, I'm working on a new show, which is tackling the big question: do we live in a simulation?
Oh
Uh,
wow.
and if so, what kind of simulation? Are we in sort of an experiment to see what happens if you put a lot of bad things and trauma into a world and the place that is simulating us is free of trauma? Or do they have just as much bad shit happening there as we do? Or is theirs worse? Who knows? Why are we being simulated? Look, the show has a lot of work to be done on it. It's in the beginning phases. Um, I'm hoping to go back to clown school. I am hoping to get back to Edinburgh. I'd love to spend a year or two living over in the UK to excuse to travel and work and do all of that stuff. But at the moment, I'm just sort of really whittling away at my practice, just trying to get better at making things and explaining my new show ideas without confusing people.
You when we spoke the first time, you had a real love for improv
Mm.
as well. You really because if I remember right, because I think now I may have this the wrong way around, but I spoke to one person who really hated improv, and then the very next interview I had was you who spoke quite highly of it, or it was the other way around.
I think I think it would have been me speaking highly of it. I am a
Okay,
fan.
yeah, because we went from that to talk about Taskmaster as well. That's kind of when we went
Yeah.
right round that way. How is the improv scene over there, or is there?
Uh, yeah, there's a bit of a scene. We've got a great group here called Changing Jennifers who do improv like a couple of times a month. But it's definitely still compared to scenes elsewhere, they're very baby. But
Mm,
it is happening here. I think I enjoy unscriptedness rather than like formal improv, like a moment in a show that you've allowed for play uh, to gauge the audience reaction to what was just said, or a chance to create a new joke, an in joke, just with these audience and these people. That's the stuff that I really enjoy. I do like improv as well, but I think there's too many sweats. There's too many people out there that are like, I've got to get really good at improv. No, just don't practice. That's the entire point of improv, isn't it? Just don't. How can you practice something that's making it up? No, that's a joke. Improv is out there. They're listening to this. I appreciate and respect you.
and yeah, we had the brief chat about Taskmaster as well, and about that kind of because that's the only way I know Australian comedy is through Taskmaster, Oz and New Zealand. Two of the one of the best ones. And obviously, you knew that actually you are my next official guest after Alex. You're like you're the next one.
Well,
Um,
that's the expectations for
yeah.
people.
But,
I love Taskmaster so much. It's exactly that unscriptedness that we've set up some parameters and we're just releasing someone who thinks weirdly into the space and see what happens. But massive fan. If things, it's one of those dreams where every time I watch a season and I'm like, I, I'll be looking under every desk in every room and under every lampshade, looking for the secret answer.
Back of the task as well, of course. Always turn the task around. Remember that.
I think I might try and start a trend of looking inside Alex's shoes. I don't think enough people look at the inside of his shoe. He could be hiding so many things in his shoes.
Tell you what, I've got his number. I'll just text him just now and ask him. Right? I'm just try to drop the name. That's all. But I'm not going to do that.
Besides your feet, what are in your shoes?
Yes. If because the whole point of me doing this podcast is to let people know that, you know, if you're going through something, or if you're living at a certain point in your life, that there are you can feel quite alone at times, but there are other people out there that are going through or have gone through, you know, certain things, and that's why I try and get different people from different backgrounds and things on. And if someone was sitting in front of you today that, you know, wasn't sure about themselves, wasn't sure who they were a bit scared, like you said you were at the time, what kind of advice would you or could you give to that person?
It's one of those tricky things because I think, like everything, it's always a case by case. But I think there's something to be said about investigating where that fear is coming from. To truly deflate fear is tricky, but I mean, fear kind of comes out of a sense that sometimes it's just a feeling, and that can be attached to ignorance of the source. And so if you're able to, I'm scared. Why am I scared? It's because I think this might be a thing. Yeah, but you're not scared that you might be non-binary. You're not scared that you might not be non-binary. You might be non-binary. That's not what the fear is. You're scared of how people will react, and the consequences of being that. How can we diffuse that fear? It's tricky. Sometimes I don't even know how to help myself when I'm feeling scared or feeling bad. Just since we spoke last, the reason we had to reschedule is during that time I was having such a terrible. My sense of self was all over the shop. I didn't have any self-worth. I felt like I'd just made a series of mistakes and my entire life was sort of like circling the drain. And these were just things that I was just telling myself conspiracies about myself and believing them and not challenging them and getting stuck in that place. And my intention to rest just became sort of rotting and stewing and lamenting. And that continued for months, for a very long time. Things got really dark and dire, and it passes. So you'll have one good day out of 24, and I just try and hold on to that good day. It's yeah, I don't know if any of this is helpful to someone else, but
I'm taking it all. Honestly,
like it passes. Like the rain dissipates, the sun comes out. That deep, dark feeling, where it was said to me is, it's like it's a temporary feeling. You don't need to be making any permanent decisions.
I love that. I really do love that. I wish that you'd said at the time. I know you obviously you were going through your own thing, and that was as was. But one of the things that I always try and stress is that when you're going through something, it's speaking a problem shared is a problem halved, isn't it? And genuinely, and I know that when we only met once back in August and that, but I think you're really cool and I really like you, and I think that if somebody like yourself was going through something like that, then I would not love to help, but I would want to help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I get all this shame of like I can't share this. I already feel like it. I it's like such a hypocrite. But make sure you talk to people and like, but when it's happening,
Everybody is though.
I'm just like, nah, it's my responsibility. I've got myself into this problem. I shouldn't talk to anyone about it, and it is the wrong type of thinking. And I since that one good day that I latched onto, and then sort of rode out of the abyss. Part of the journey back up was expressing things to more people, uh, not letting things stew, doing all the annoying things they say help, like walking more and sleeping well and drinking water. It's so annoying that those work, but they do. And someone right now is listening to this and going like, "Fuck off! Don't tell me that works." It does work. I just go and sit in the sun if you can find any for 5 or 10 minutes. You'll feel better. You will feel better. I'm sorry, but it's the truth.
Yeah, that's no, that's a lot, but it's great. Um, Let me ask you then, because obviously I'm aware of how late it is for you. It's only lunchtime for me. But um, when last night when I was kind of trying to do a wee bit of research on you, I could find very little, if I'm being honest. There's very little out there about you. And for somebody who works in such a public profession, um, is that a conscious thing? That a conscious choice, or is it just something that you've just not gotten around to doing?
I think it's a lack of organization more than anything.
ADHD.
Yeah, I think I had a I had a good sort of little web page going for a while, but they lapse and they're hard to keep control of. But in terms of info, do you mean like where I went to school, what
No.
how tall I am, or
So I found the Santa stuff that you did on Facebook, which was very, very funny. Um, but I couldn't find much more of your content. Obviously, it was on Instagram. There was stuff on Instagram and stuff as well.
I've
But
got quite
I
a
would love to
prolific
see
TikTok.
more. Oh, your TikTok.
Yeah,
I looked for you on TikTok. Where was it? I actually follow you, don't I? I'm being silly.
I don't know. Yeah, I was making TikToks sort of on and on. You know, you have like fits and starts.
Yeah.
Probably over the last 5 years. But I think my most viewed video was me
Oh, there you are.
ringing payphones.
Now I follow you. Where are you?
Yeah.
Got you.
Yossi, haha. Oh, wait,
That's you. That's you, right?
yeah, that's me. I'm hosting a
Oh,
80s
you're
themed
mute.
prom.
You are muted.
Hello?
Oh wait, maybe me. Hang on.
Or maybe
Maybe my headphone has died. Let's go to MacBook speakers.
hello.
There you are. Yes, my headphones. Let me just take that away.
Just swap it out.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, that's you then on the?
Yeah, that's me. I in my profile picture, I was hosting like an 80s themed prom. It was pretty fun. But yeah, I just made like a bunch of dumb sketches. One of my most popular videos was me answering a ringing payphone in the middle of the day, just in the street. Yeah, people enjoy that stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Social media and I have one of those things where I don't like it and it doesn't like me, but occasionally I'm sure try and flirt with it a little bit. It flirts back, and then things just end cold. Uh, we don't call each other for a few weeks until one of us eventually gets back in touch with the other one, and then it's on for about a week, and then it's off again.
A couple of last things before I wrap up. I do want to ask you as well about your look. Now I was obsessed with those overalls that you were wearing when we first met. Something that
Which ones were?
oh, it was the Lucy.
Were they the Lucy and Yak ones, or
Yes.
the white ones?
Oh, it definitely wasn't white.
They were
Lucy,
yeah, they were Lucy and Yak. Yeah. I go to them for most of my jumpsuit needs.
Yeah, I was obsessed with that, and for somebody who, I don't know, I think I'm quite a traditional looking male. Um, I would love to have the confidence to wear stuff like that because I think it looks so comfortable for a start, and I think it looks good.
Yeah.
And obviously the other stuff I see you wearing on your social medias and stuff as well, you've got a very unique look. But is that a case of you just do what's comfortable? You just do what you want?
Um, it's a mixture of just doing what I want, craving attention, and um, wanting to sort of experiment in the expression of fashion. I I enjoy wearing things that others might deem strange or ugly, or like I love an ugly shirt, like like an ugly sort of 80s rug style pattern shirt. Love it. Um, the jumpsuits are really comfy to run around in and do clown stuff. Um, and uh, look, I love compliments. I love compliments. I'm a big compliment fan. So enjoy wearing those because I'm a compliment magnet whenever I wear those. I just to the shop the other day, I wore just, over my sort of my going out overalls. And I think I got 2 or 3 compliments. Yum, 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 yum. I can go back home now. Good. I've had my fill. But yeah, I enjoy wearing strange combos of colors, and I think I've always done. I've been through phases. I thought I was a hobbit in my early 20s, late teens. There was chemical assistance in that thought,
Of course.
but that did sort of lend itself to what some may call a sort of a hipster style, blowing scarves and torn corduroy pants, no shoes, massive pipe, like just a strange style. Just this feels comfortable. It's like, okay, say we are in a simulation.
Okay.
When you're playing a video game and you get to the character creation menu, or you get to pick their outfit or something, are you thinking like, shit, if I put them in that, the other NPCs might make fun of them, or they look cool in that, that looks comfortable for them. This is the person that I'm trying to express this person to be. Just put him in it and send him loose. That's kind of how I feel about this vessel. I can just dress it up however I want. It doesn't really matter. It's what's in here and here that is important. And I dress it up however I want, whatever I want anyway.
Love it. And finally, one impression that I really get from you as well was that, and maybe I'm wrong. We've only met once, but I get the impression anyway. There's a kindness to you. You kind of ooze kindness, from the first time we met, and obviously like from our chats and stuff online. Given what you've gone through and the journey that you've made through your own life, how important is kindness to you?
So, like, foundational. Um, I don't ever see a point in not being kind. There's obviously moments where tiredness, sadness, anger gets the best, and I'm not the kindest person. Being someone that loves improv, I can twist a few words quite well together when need be, but I I guess at the end of the day, I hate conflict.
Yeah.
So I can steadily head away from it if the vibes I'm putting out are very non-confrontational. Um, so maybe the kindness is a mixture of like just genuine empathy for everyone having to exist in the world, which is a tricky thing to do, and everyone doing it is doing a good job.
True.
And also a mix of self-preservation. Is that too honest?
No, not at all. God, no. I love honesty. I love the honesty as well. We mentioned your social media and stuff, but I don't think we spoke about the handles and stuff. Where can everybody find you?
I'm at Yozzy Haha everywhere. That's my name and what I hope to make you do. Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky. I'm not on Red Note yet, but I'll get there.
Yeah,
I'm everywhere.
Blue Sky. That's like the kind Twitter, isn't it?
Yeah, it is the kind Twitter. At the moment, I like calling it the quiet Twitter, but maybe I just don't have enough connections on there.
Well, no, I tried to go on it. I've got like 3 followers on it. I'm not there either. Listen, thank you for taking the time to come and chat to me, even especially given how late it is.
It's an absolute pleasure.
And that is a wrap on today's episode of The Peer Project. Now, a massive thank you again to Yoz Mensch for their honesty, their humour and their amazing insights. And if you enjoyed this conversation, then please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you've already done that, then please share. Let other people know about it too. It really does make a difference and helps us continue to bring you these amazing stories. Now, before I go, let me give you a little tease about who's coming next. Now, this next guest that I've got signed up is an absolute legend of stage and screen. I did mention that they were on TV prominently on Christmas Day. They are known for bringing warmth and charisma to every single role that they take on. And whether you've seen them exploring family dynamics in a beloved British sitcom, or journeying through history in an epic series, this is one that you will not want to miss, I promise you. And as always, if you want to support the podcast even further, then check out the Executive Producer Programme. Now, your name could be in the credits at the end of episodes just like this one. And if you'd like to sponsor an episode, drop me an email. podcasts@chrisduke.co.uk. Alright, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. And I'll see you next time on The Peer Project. See ya!
Today's episode of the Peer Project podcast is proudly sponsored by Karen at Time to Be, Holistic Psychotherapy. If you're seeking a therapeutic approach tailored to the neurodivergent community, then look no further than Imago Relationship therapy. Imago therapy focuses on fostering deeper communication between couples, particularly when one or both partners are neurodivergent. It's designed to slow down conversations, making room for those with ADHD to process and express themselves fully without distraction. It's all about building connections and understanding. Karen's support keeps the Peer Project running, while also offering you valuable resources to improve your relationships. If you want to explore a therapy that prioritises real, meaningful conversations, then visit www.timetobe.com. That's www.timetobe.com. Thanks again to Karen and Time to Be for supporting our podcast and helping us spread mental health awareness.